run it. It just was a lot of good plays.
Well, that's excellent.
No good for you?
Yeah, so I did. It was really funny. So actually that monster just bailed me out yesterday, and that was the one I literally created right on the spot when we were doing this. So so I was kind of glad about that. And today I've done a lot of work on this stuff. I don't know if there's any news that I missed in the last couple of minutes.
No, you got the Podol news or the LaMarcus Aldridge news, right?
I was always of the assumption that he wasn't playing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually thought he was going to play because I thought they said rest at first, and then they changed it. So, yeah, but so we've got that.
So let's just, I guess we'll go game by game. I guess it's I'm tempted to, I don't know, how do you approach? I'm tempted to make this a 4-game slate.
Sure.
But that's. That seems a little either lazy or does that actually ever win? You know what I mean? Like, don't you sort of have to pick guys from the games that are not that obvious to win these 10 games? You're the 10-game slate master. I mean, like, I don't know what
go off the board in enough spots to get different. Like even the guys who are really good plays, especially on FanDuel, like you got, what's his name? You've got Otto Porter at 4,400. And he's only projected to be 30% owned, which is just kind of like on a normal thing. It feels like he should be like 70% owned, but there's just a lot of good plays.
Do you think that they will they would play Otto Porter that many minutes on a back-to-back?
It's a good question, and it's something that I have a little bit of concern about. But he only played 30. I mean, he played 31. I think he wants his chance, and they're paying him a lot of money. I believe in Otto Porter as a player, so I'm gonna load up with him on FanDuel. I even have a little bit of him on DraftKings, but I am a little bit concerned with what you're saying. And I'm not sure he needs that many minutes though. He can play 24 minutes and probably get there at 4,400. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because the first bunch of runs I did on FanDuel, I mean, I was like having to force myself to not have like 100% of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was, so, and I just get nervous. Me on these back-to-backs, and it always makes me a little bit nervous, especially with guys that are not 20 years old. So it's especially all guys coming off of big performances yesterday. Now, with that said, also remember that yesterday it was kind of an afternoon game, so it's not, you know what I mean. Although it's back-to-back days, there's an extra 4 hours of rest, as opposed to normal back-to-back. So
that's true.
There is that. So let's kind of start this off here.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Everybody in chat. Good to see you all here. Happy New Year to everyone. And we'll go game by game, and we'll try to do it as quickly as possible.
So Memphis Charlotte, I think, is interesting because one of the things that makes it interesting is that there are a couple of rookie performances that are, I think, of varying degrees of I don't want to say believability, but of things you need to really think about. So let me start with Memphis for a second. So for Desmond Bane, okay, listen, I mean, dude, he played 30 minutes, but it was all in freaking garbage time. You know what I mean? Like if people just game log watch, I don't want to go too ballistic with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not. I'm telling you, if you optimize these using some projection and stuff, you'll end up like a zillion % Desmond Bane, and I think that's a really bad idea. Not that it's a bad play necessarily, but to have too much of him based on that last game is kind of asking for it. A guy who's not going to project well, I'm kind of cheating here because I know you kind of tweeted about him yesterday was LaMelo. He could be that guy that you always kind of have to play. If you're playing DFS, and I'm definitely not getting him to him projection wise. So I was hoping to get your take on that. But I think there's some stuff to be done in this game. I think that first of all, I really love on both sides, but actually more so on FanDuel as kind of a lower owned play. I like Valanciunas a lot actually over there. And then all those other guys on Memphis remain good plays, like Brandon Clark still looks good. Pretty much, this I think kind of could be like, I don't want to say even sneaky, but kind of a sneaky game. And on the Charlotte side, I like what I'm doing is I'm kind of giving you guys that I factor in both projections and possible low ownership. Kind of into Gordon Hayward. from the Charlotte side of things. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about this game?
So I'm going to have a hard, like, I think Gordon Hayward on DraftKings is very reasonably priced, and I like the price on PJ Washington as well. I think in general, you're right about LaMelo. He's a guy we're going to have to mix in. I don't think I'm going to get to him today. It's too big a slate, and I think there's huge variance for LaMelo and Miles Bridges every game. And I just feel like there's enough other spots where I'm sort of avoiding it today. But that could be a mistake. I'm not. If I was playing a million lineups on DraftKings, maybe I would get him into some, but I'm not playing a ton of them. So I think he's always going to be a solid play. I think Gordon Hayward and Washington are both very reasonable, although I don't find myself with as much Hayward because I have so much DeRozan. So that's sort of where I'm at with that one. But Charlotte's really deep. Like, not deep, but they'll play, 8 guys, 9 guys, 24 plus minutes. Like it's a little tricky to try and get them for DFS value. I like Bane. I think that they figured out. I partially think that the reason why he is getting some love is that they were just much better with him on the court than they were without him. Basically, they played a lot better in that game against Boston with him there. And you would think his minutes would trend upward. But I still think Tyus Jones is a strong play as well. Again, another guy who I'm getting a little less of because I like Ricky Rubio a little bit better. But I do like both those guys. And then Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson are both really good plays. I love your Valanciunas call on FanDuel. I think that's a really, really solid option. But I'm interested in – I would rank them for me, Bane, Jones, Brooks, Anderson. This is nothing revolutionary. And then on the other side, I would rank it Hayward, Washington on DraftKings. But it's pretty close between those two for me.
And I only forgot to mention him because I had him in my core lineup here. Is I do like Dylan Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Dallas, Miami. I do hope that. I have him. I have him getting a decent amount of ownership, but not all of that much. Luka. If they make a mistake of letting Luka go off like 10% somehow, I'm going to be kind of upset I don't have him. So I got to kind of keep an eye on that. Some places have him at 10%, some people have up to 15, 20%. So I don't know what's going to happen with this, but Luka hasn't flashed the ceiling yet, but he's flashed the ceiling his whole career. So I'm not. I have some interest in him. The only other. There's 2 little bits of business from this game. Number one, on FanDuel, I was getting some Dwight Powell as a real cheap center. So I want to ask you about that. And then on Miami side, I really didn't like much. I liked a little bit of Butler, but like you said, in the regular season, it's not quite as important to play Butler, but I did like him a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I have no interest in anybody on Miami except for I still have some interest in Hero, even with Butler back. I think.
What is he, like 8K now, Hero?
What do they make him over here?
6,500. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to play him much. Is the truth, but I do think that he's there. He can get there still, and I think he's actually cheaper on FanDuel. I haven't. Let me double check that real quick because I do believe I have some of them over there. What is he priced at? Why doesn't it have his price? Why doesn't it have his price here? He's 5,300 on FanDuel. That's why I like him.
Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. But so I think that Luka's a terrific tournament play. It's not an ideal matchup, obviously. I'm just not going to play anybody from Miami. If there was anybody, it'd be Duncan Robinson on DraftKings, which is completely fine. Go ahead and do it. I'm just not going to do it on DraftKings. I will play Hero on FanDuel. And then on the Dallas side, it's just a matter of whether you want to play Luka. For me, I understand that Josh Richardson's going to be fairly popular. I'm going to go. Yeah, he's projected around like 18% ownership or somewhere around there. Got him. Yeah. I think I'll go elsewhere. I don't mind. Like he's a guy who I expect to get 25 to 30, but I don't know how much ceiling there is for him in this type of offense that runs through Luka so heavily. So personally, it's going to be Luka for me or nothing. And I'm debating between the Luka because I can afford them, but they're not going to be that high owned. Luka and Giannis, and neither of them in ideal spots. Giannis is in what seemingly is a good spot, but that game could get really ugly really quick. So I like Luka, but I have him slightly behind Giannis currently.
Okay.
All right, next one, Boston, Detroit.
Yeah, this game sucks.
Yep.
I had
What about Sadiq Bey?
Yeah, I don't want to play that.
Kid's good.
Is it? You sure?
Oh, I'm 100% sure he's good.
Yeah, I don't
They,
know.
they love him. Everybody wanted him, and like he's going to be the guy they look back in the draft and they're going to be like, "Why the hell didn't we draft this guy?"
Well, I mean, there isn't a lot of value. You know what I mean? So there's him. There's Trey Burke. There's the other one.
Neto
And then there's Neto
and Dane.
and Dane. That is correct.
And Podol.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, I know you're not into it. I'm telling you, he got in foul trouble in 2 seconds. He played like 9 minutes in the first half, and he had like 12 fantasy points or 11 fantasy points, but he only played 9 minutes because he got in foul trouble. So Eubanks came in, and he picked up his fourth foul right away in the third quarter, and then the game was getting out of reach. So that's why he didn't produce quite what we want. He still put up 20 fantasy points, but I think that he's got a really good shot at 30 plus tonight. So. Anyway, but Sadiq Bey, I have a mild interest in. I don't find myself using him a ton. So I'd rather use the other value personally. He seems to be more shooting reliant, and I do like him in general as a player. But again, I don't know if I'm going to use him much. Tatum makes a lot of sense, but again, I'm not finding him in my lineups. Even though again, I do like he is a justifiably good play. It's just a huge slate, so you just have to weigh everything.
Yeah.
All right. Want to go to the gold mine?
Yeah. Which one? All right.
Atlanta, Brooklyn.
Yeah. So let's. I think the other one game's better, but let's talk about.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Let's talk about Atlanta, Brooklyn. They ran this. Well, you know my opinion on this game. They had the other day they had like what, they put up 270 points or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the under here. That's the one thing I can tell you for sure. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, you. By the way, you good call by you. Not on Durant as far as his fantasy points, but I guess one was a derivative of that because he did do well. But also that you did suggest that he was going to really start getting rebounds, and he did. I mean, you saw him aggressively going for them. So that was a really, really good kind of subtle call, which was partially why he did pretty well the other day. So he's really expensive on FanDuel, and I kind of want to go back to him anyway.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I have a pretty strong take here, by the way.
Okay.
I think Kyrie Irving is like one of the best plays on the slate.
Yeah, I was getting there. So and then there's Kyrie, who, I'll put it to you another way. There was 3/4 of Kyrie like making everybody mad, and then like 1/4 of Kyrie just going freaking ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he can do, man. And those are the guys you kind of want. So I like him a lot as well. And yeah, so Atlanta, Trey is really, Trey's good. And I don't know if I can get to Collins on this slate. So I got no problem with Trey and no problem with the two main guys in Brooklyn, and no auxiliary guys for me.
Yeah, I'm not getting to Trey tonight, but I love Kyrie. 36% usage rate the other night. He just shot the ball poorly to start. He missed his first. I think he missed, one of his first 10 or something.
Yeah.
And then he got going. But he still put up 40-odd. Like, he could have had 70 fantasy points in that game. I actually thought they were running a lot more through him than they were KD. KD is just awesome. So for me in this game, it's pretty simple. I like KD and Kyrie not together, just because of the size of the slate, even though I think that you can probably get 50 out of each of them. I slightly prefer Kyrie to KD, but it is the guard position on DraftKings a little more loaded. And I think that I will mix in another piece of Bogdanovic or two. I just feel like there's a higher ceiling for this guy that we haven't even seen yet, and he's still just putting up those good games. And I know he's shooting the ball well and all that. I feel like they're going to have him run more with the second unit at certain times, and maybe his assist numbers will go up. But again, I don't have a ton of interest. So mostly it's going to be those two. And then I do think John Collins is firmly in play. He put up 46 in this matchup the other night. They've got a couple injuries, and they're not quite as deep as usual. So those are the guys for me.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how much. I mean, I don't think it's like a stackable game per se, because there's not a lot of value except for the top plays. But so, like you said, the gold mine. It's like this could be one of those where you say like I want one of them in like every lineup or something like that. But I don't know if I want to play more than that.
Yeah, it's also too big of a slate to really even. I don't even think I would go that far, because it's just the size of the slate worries me. I do think Karis LeVert at low ownership on FanDuel is definitely in play. But that's pretty much it for this game for me.
Okay. So Chicago, Milwaukee. All right. First of all, I heard some. I don't know. I heard some nonsense. I don't say nonsense. That like Daniel Gafford was going to be chalk or something like that. Is that
This is all nuts. That was just nonsense.
that is nonsense, right? Okay. Let him be chalk. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Go ahead. Somebody else can take that.
I will say this about Chicago. I've said this a lot. They can't guard anybody. They can't guard anybody. So for me, it's either, maybe, I don't know. You could play, by the way, Giannis and or Middleton with some of these Chicago big scorers, right? If you want. But it's going to be a rough game, man. It's a rough game for Chicago. I prefer to just kind of try to get those value pieces again, like yesterday, like Otto Porter, like Thad Young. I didn't, you know what? I feel whatever. Only it's a 2-game slate, whatever. I had so much Thad Young in my original thing. It just kind of scared me. So I manually took him out. Not all of it, but a little bit too much of it. And he's another guy, by the way, like Porter, which I'm not too thrilled about playing a back-to-back.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. I really don't know about this game. You can play Giannis. I'm sure he's going to get 60 fantasy points in 3 quarters. Maybe Middleton too. I don't know. I just think that there's no way they don't get there against Chicago's defense. I just don't know if they can put up a ceiling. That's all.
I think I like Holiday the best of everybody on. And he's going to have low ownership on DraftKings because the position is just loaded. So I look, if you play Giannis, stack this game. In my opinion, it's stackable. It's actually the perfect kind of team that if they somehow hang in there, like the one way to beat Milwaukee is from the outside. So you can play LaVine and Kobe White and Otto Porter, all these shooters. That works for me. But look, I wrote a tweet yesterday about not predicting blowouts, and I think that's a really
I didn't know what you were getting. You were really angry at people yesterday. What was that?
I'm kind of pissed off at people in our industry. I feel like I'm sick of listening to other content and people not taking stands and not saying things and just sort of liking 100 different plays. I just don't like doing things that way. To me, you're like.
No, I know that. But what about the thing with the blowouts? Though, what was that all about?
The blowouts. Everybody talks about how you can't predict a blowout. You can't predict a blowout. Look what happens. And look, you're right. You can't accurately predict anything. But our job is to do that. That's what we're doing. We're trying to figure out the best plays to make, and then you have to factor blowouts in, especially this year. 25% of the games that have been played so far have been 20 points, have had a 20-point spread or more.
Well, excuse me, but by definition, everybody has to factor in blowouts because even if someone's going to be a projection guy, you have to pursue. You have to figure out range of outcomes, right? Like how.
Yeah, I agree. We're on the same page, but people don't do this. I'm telling you. I listen to every other show out there. People do not. They say, "Oh, I don't want to predict a blowout. I don't want to predict a blowout." So I like this guy, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to try and predict what I can. I think this game is likely a blowout. If it's not, I will have this. I also do have some stacks with LaVine, White, and Porter on DraftKings, and I don't like Thad Young as much. And then Giannis on the other side, and Giannis and Holiday in one case. Because I think that if it does stay close, these guys are going to have to go nuts from the outside. And we've seen what Zach LaVine can do like that. We've seen what Kobe White can do. You could be looking at a monster game from them if the game is to stay close. I don't think it will, but I will have some stacks to hedge against that. I think most likely this game is going to be an absolute shit show. But what I was saying was also I just want us to be. I want to be different. I want to be giving my actual takes instead of saying, oh, well, these guys are just good plays and this is a good play. I'm just tired of it, man. I feel like people are being lazy about it, and I feel like they mislead a lot of the people, and then they take victory laps on saying, I told you about that guy would go off. I was like, yeah, but you named 75 other guys on your show. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's just my personal
Well, I want to – only have that much time, but I do want to just take a little – not take issue. What I want to do is just kind of say that I come across it a little bit differently than you. Mm-hmm. Like someone said, why you listen to anybody anyway? And you said, I really don't listen to anybody. See, like for me, I'm just kind of like sort of the opposite. What I like to do is I like to listen to literally everybody so that I can see where everybody's coming from.
Right.
You never know where you can get like weird nuggets from and to get a good idea of where all the groupthink is coming. You know what I mean?
I 1,000,000% agree with listening. What I think by listening, I don't listen in terms of I don't use them to decide my lineups for me.
Right.
That's what I meant. And I feel like that's the important thing. You want to aggregate the information, sure. But occasionally I think it pollutes you too. I think not you, but I mean like people.
Well, no, that's the other thing. I can tell you also that the times where I like really just killed it with respect to either like having different stuff that did well or whatever, and really big success was when I really just kind of just, sort of did it on my own, like, and didn't get, like I said, and didn't get poisoned by too much. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. So yeah. So let's just go on then. So we're done with pretty much with Chicago, Milwaukee then?
Yep.
Okay. Washington, Minnesota to me is the nut game. Okay. Yep. Like in my first build, like for FanDuel, I got off of it, but I had four twins, but four Timberwolves with Beal. Okay. And not only that, but I had Beal and Bryant. I had like 6 guys from that game. That was my original idea. I'm a little bit off of that extreme, but I'll tell you, man, I think that as little as Chicago plays defense, Washington could be the worst. Actually, Chicago's the worst, but Washington's pretty bad. And people, and this game to me could be just like a lot of fun. And for Washington, as I mentioned, I like I think Neto is obviously a good play. He's going to be chalky. I think Beal at 9,500. I don't care if he's 11,000. You know what I mean? Like I think he's a good play. I like Thomas Bryant. I think he's a good play. I would even, you know what I mean? Like if you really wanted to overstack or put a zillion guys, I play Bertans. He could always hit 50 fantasy points. Just pretty much everybody like that. And then on the Minnesota side, I mean, like we mentioned Bane, but I think Tyus Young is right back in play. I think that Naz Reid is, he's going to be popular. He's still right back in play. And then even going back to what's his face, the freaking idiot Jared Culver, I'll play him.
He's not named. He's awesome.
Yeah. But I am. However, then there's Beasley and all this stuff. But like you don't even have to do that much. You could even play like chalky. I would say D'Angelo Russell, or maybe a little lower on Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio is probably of this whole game might be my favorite game of them all. Favorite play of them all. I mean, he's a guy like I never play, and you always play him when I don't play him, and he gets 9x, right? So, yeah. So I kind of like him in this spot. And there was a couple of times I remember last year where Rubio was in kind of a fast-paced matchup, and I just commented, I'm like, do I really want Rubio in like a fast-paced matchup? You're like, dude, don't underestimate how Rubio can be in those fast-paced matchups. He gets steals, he can get that going, and he's not a guy people think of that would benefit from it up and down the court, but he is, and I love him in this spot. So I think that this game could, this is, if you really want to turn a 10-game slate into like a 3-game slate, this is one way to do it, is to really overload on this game.
That's what everyone's doing, I think, too. And I agree, though. I'm going to be ahead of the field on Reed, Rubio. I'll be a little below the field on D'Angelo Russell personally, but I will have some of them. And I'll be way ahead of the field on Culver. And my sleeper from this game, if we're going to play this game heavy, let's get some Malik Beasley and Anthony Edwards exposure. That's the way I would treat that side of it. I think Neto, Bryant, and Beal are all really good plays on FanDuel, especially for Bryant and Beal. But Neto, it's a little worrisome to me with Neto. I'm not going to lock this guy in. And I'm not going to play him as much on FanDuel, because I do think there is a totally different range where Ish Smith ends up playing as many minutes. And these things there's variance here. So I'm not going to just like lock him in and feel like he's like the stud you have to go out and play. I think Troy Brown is a good off the board play in this matchup. That's the only other thing I would say. But again, yeah, you want to be ahead of the guys. I want to be ahead of the field mostly in this game, just a little bit off of the mega chalk, probably with the field on Neto and a little below the field on D'Angelo, but everybody else is I'm strong on. And we got a good thing in chat mentioned. Bobby Portis is completely in play for Milwaukee. I didn't mention him before. It's a wild long shot play, but if we're going to talk about making plays with LaMelo, this guy is going to play his 20 whatever minutes with upside on that if they blow him out. And we've seen Bobby Portis put up like 50 fantasy points before, and this is against his old team, and he is the guy who always lights up his old team. So I'm open to taking a shot with Bobby Portis, even though the slate is it's not ideal. So
no, listen, I'd be like a credible hypocrite if I didn't support that, because I mentioned this a couple of days ago that he's, he's definitely on the All NBA, garbage time team. You know what I mean? Like he's one of the great blowout players there is. You know, so. Yeah, I'm into that actually.
Not to mention against his former team, and he's had issues. Like, there's a lot going on there with this guy.
Oh wait, he's playing Chicago, right?
Yeah, it's.
Oh,
I mean, we don't have it in Chicago. We don't have it with fans, but it's
Whatever.
still something I'm really willing to take a shot on for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to move on to the next one? The Lakers and.
Yeah, let's do that. So all these guys are playing, right, or no?
As of right now, we're under the assumption that they're playing. We don't know for sure. My guess is you're going to hear a lot of weird stuff. I also want to point out about that Minnesota-Washington. Eye out for the starting lineup. Washington's starting 0-5. I know they're resting Westbrook on their back-to-back because they decided to. I'm telling you, I could see weird things happening. Like I could see them resting Bertans, who's coming from an injury, who should really be rested on the second of a back-to-back. I don't know how much difference it'll make for Detroit Brown. Then it could be really a sneaky play. But I should have mentioned this before. And I'm not saying this will happen. There will be times this year where Westbrook is supposed to be out where he'll end up playing.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
What about what's his face? So what about on San Antonio? So you like those guys again?
Yeah, we got Derek White back, so it's going to cut a little bit into my like for DeJounte Murray, but I still think he's fine. And I'm very high on DeRozan, and I think he's going to get less ownership this time around. I love him. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. And who else?
Play Podol. I'm telling you, this guy can. He's a good basketball player, and they like him. They're going to need size in this matchup. So it's either if Podol gets in foul trouble, you could go for a long shot Drew Eubanks play. I'm not going to do that myself. But I do like Podol quite a bit in DeRozan. I don't really have any interest elsewhere in this game unless LeBron's out. Then Anthony Davis again becomes maybe the best player on the slate.
Well, that I would think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, we just might not know till later. That's the only reason I mentioned it.
All right, so, dude, when did they start making people play back-to-back games in Denver? I mean, this is crazy.
Yep. I mean, they have to do it though this year. This is what they agreed on. They're ending the travel. They don't want the traveling happening. So that's why everybody's going to play each other twice. Basically, they're going to go around the country doing it like that. I understand why they're doing it, so I don't have a problem with it. I do want to say that my best bet of the year may have been my Jokic for MVP bet. I think he's. I mean, I'm going to keep mentioning this because
he's like what can you get right now 4-1.
I think he's like 4 or 5 to 1. I got him at 26 to 1. I actually owned him at 35. I mean, I think he's really he's to me he looks like he's like running away with it. So Sheets, I saw something today. He gets 100 he touches the ball 113 times a game on average this season. Nobody else is above 80, 82, I think it was.
You serious?
That's incredible. And a lot of them are just, passing into the high post and he gets it back out to the shooter. But like still, he's touching the ball all the time. And he can do a million different things and he's going to be low owned tonight. I think maybe we start thinking of him more in the Luka range, in the Giannis range pretty soon. I'm not saying we're there yet, but he's pretty close, man. This guy he's been the best fantasy guy so far. So I'm really willing to go back to him tonight. But I don't know. Again, I don't know how much of him I'll get because it does feel like if you're there, why don't you just play Luka at a cheaper price? But I think it's for real what we're seeing with him. And other than that, in this game, I'm just going to keep going back to Devin Booker. I don't care. I don't care what's happening. I don't care the perception. If this guy gets it going and they stay in the game and it's competitive, he's going to have his blowups, and he's still 7,500 on FanDuel. 8K is a little harder on DraftKings with the loaded position, but I'm just going to keep going back to this guy. He's one of those guys who's going to put up that 60, 70-point game and win you a slate, sort of like Bradley Beal when people weren't playing him last year. That's how I view Devin Booker this year.
Yeah.
He just hasn't done it yet. Doesn't mean anything to me. He can totally do it. Forget the fact that all those guys are there. I think he'll be fine. But I'm not playing anybody else in this game.
What do you think of the Utah game?
So I think that Donovan Mitchell is too cheap, and he's another one of those guys who we look. He's definitely worse in terms of fantasy production when you have Conley healthy. But at some point, we got to take shots on these guys, and I think that he's actually. He's like a safe play at 6,800 with massive upside. He's going to be owned a little bit, but I love him and Gobert. To answer your question, I don't mind Conley, especially on DraftKings. And on the Clipper side, assuming everybody's healthy, I will go right back to Paul George on FanDuel, but I won't play anybody else in this game.
what was I going to say? Hold on, I'm just doing this as we're doing this. In addition to Valanciunas, by the way, in addition to Valanciunas, I love Gobert as a low-owned play also.
I do too. I don't know if he'll be low-owned though.
On FanDuel, I think
Maybe.
I think he will be.
Maybe on FanDuel he will be.
I just kind of think he will be.
Yeah,
and I like Donovan Mitchell in this spot actually.
mm-hmm.
And the other thing, by the way, just as a matter of disclosure, I'm unfortunately getting too much of total on FanDuel in my run swing norm, so I'm going to be playing a decent amount of it.
Appreciate the honesty. I hope it pays off for us because I'm playing a good bit as well. You want to jump over to what honestly is going to be like somewhat ignored, but you could make an argument this is the game of the night.
Which?
The last game.
Yeah. Okay.
Golden State. I mean, talk about a late night hammer. You got a total of 235, 240. Was it 235? And I'm telling you, I'll call it right now. I don't know if it's enough to get you there because there's guys right above it. Like, I mean, he's basically almost at the same price as Luka and these guys. But I think this is the Dame explosion game. I just don't even know if that's going to be enough to outdo those other guys. That's where I'm sort of stuck. I like him better on FanDuel. But I really think this is the game Dame goes off. So far this year, we've seen CJ McCollum has the highest usage rate on the Blazers, which is just like shocking to see. But Dame, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Dame goes nuts tonight.
I like him a lot tonight, actually. And we could do old school shit, man. Like play him and Curry together, right?
Yep.
I mean, those are the guys that can do it, right? I mean, they can.
Yes, sir.
They can get that shit going. That's for sure. I'll shoot from the circle. You'll shoot from half court, and I'm kind of into it.
Me too. I'm with you, man. 100%.
So hold on. So here's where I'm going with this game. Actually, I am a stubborn mother effer, and it was a blowout yesterday. So he only got 20 minutes. I'm going to go right back to Covington tonight. Actually,
100%.
Yeah, so he's at 4,600, and for all the reasons that I liked him yesterday, I'm going to like him the same today. And again, he just didn't have a chance. There were 22 minutes of the blowout. And excuse me, by the way, he was 3 for 4 from the field. By far his best shooting performance in only 25 minutes. Right? So I am into Covington on DraftKings, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm into Covington as well. I really think this game has some shootout possibility. I love Kelly Oubre. He's gonna kill me every time. But you know what? I'll keep going back.
Well, he was fine the other day, and we played him. Wasn't he or no?
Yeah, no, he was fine. But he was nothing special. By the way, Grayson Allen being out is another reason why Bane is projecting so well. I forgot to mention that before.
Right.
So I'm very, man. I'm like. I don't know. I mean, I really want to stack this game up. I don't have enough stacks of it, and I'd like to get some more. So I think I'm going to have to do that when we get off. And I want Dame and I want Oubre together. I'm totally good with playing Andrew Wiggins here. I think that he's fine as well. I like him better on FanDuel at 64 rather than 6,900, but I think I'll keep people off of him on DraftKings. I just think those are the three guys. Even with Draymond Green back, I don't think it has a negative impact on these guys. I really don't. I mean, all he wants to do is pass the ball anyway, and these guys want to shoot. So great. Covington, Lillard, and then those guys. And then you can even throw in Derek Jones if you want to get a full stack there.
What's that, Bobby? Say that again.
Covington, Lillard, running it back with Steph and one of those guys, and then you could throw in, if you really want to, you could throw in Derek Jones, although I don't love playing Derek Jones when there's other value on the slate.
Yeah, I don't think you need to do that either.
Yeah, I was just throwing it out there. If you want to just fully stack up the game, you could even throw him in because he's going to play minutes, but I'm not probably going to do it either. I'm taking a quick look because we have some things. Celtics starting Tristan Thompson, Jeff Teague's coming off the bench. Nothing surprising there.
Okay, that's fine though.
Yeah. The one other thing we should mention about Denver, which I sort of glossed over, Will Barton's a really good play.
I have, as they say in the thing, I have a shit ton of him
on
FanDuel.
Yeah. I would encourage people to try and take a look at him on DraftKings as well. He's going to be really unowned on DraftKings, and Will Barton can get it cooking too, just like Porter can. And he's got the minutes now that he's going to be able to do it. We know he plays unselfish guys like Jokic, so I think he's gonna have the opportunity tonight. So I think he's in play on both sides.
Are you playing Podol on both sides?
Playing Podol on both sides. I'm playing Podol on both sides. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just gonna figure this out. I have to do it. You know what? I'm saying F it with one of my big buy-in lineups, and I'm going hammer stack on that last game. I just think there's too good of a chance it could happen, and I'd hate to miss it. It's too on brand for me to skip out, to miss out on this one. At least get the 4-man stack going. You know what I mean? Yeah. I actually have too much money left on the table here, but I'm even okay with that. Like I'm like leaving 700 on the table, and I'm actually don't have a problem with that tonight.
You know who I'm not getting, I think, as much of as you are, and maybe I should, is DeRozan. I gotta look at that a little bit more. It's the same thing as the other day, right? I mean, the only difference is it's a 100-game slate tonight.
Yeah, and he didn't explode in the other game the other night.
I mean, that's fine. I mean,
yeah.
He's going to play but he had that dunk on what's his face. That was pretty strong. Did you see that?
Nice play. Yeah, I did.
There were two big dunks in that slate. There was one, and then there was another freaking play by Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that. He came in.
Where did that come from?
Somebody, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out that Portland thing one more time. So I have Naz. Just going back to, I want to just touch on something because I'm sort of struggling with it.
Yeah.
Do I take Naz Reid and leave a bunch of money on the table, or do I play PJ Washington? I'm sort of struggling with that decision. I know that sounds pretty lame, but it's actually a pretty important decision for me today. So I think
who's cheaper?
Naz Reid is cheaper, and I like him probably like a little bit better, but he'll be much higher owned, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to do some of that. I'm going to get a little bit of PJ Washington, and then I'm going to play Naz Reid in a double paired center. Where I'm playing Podol on DraftKings, I'm going to play Naz Reid.
You're going to play the Sadiq Ray?
Who?
The Ray.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Sadiq Ray, the guy we were talking about earlier.
Oh, Sadiq. Yeah, I don't think I'm actually getting to him as much. I don't think I need the savings that much, to be honest.
On DraftKings, 3,100.
There's other savings. I just prefer the other value. And he's shooting dependent, and even when he shot well the other night, he still didn't put up a very big game. So I know that I like him. I like him a lot as a player. I'm all on board on the train or whatever. But I don't know if I'm going to end up doing it personally.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get some of them on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But I don't think that I'm just not playing quite enough lineups to where I'm really gonna find it feasible to do that. I don't think. Culver, Rubio. I'm trying to figure out who else do I want. So Culver, Rubio, Reed, Beal on one side, and then maybe I don't play Podol over here. Maybe that's the answer. There it is. I think that is the answer.
What do you mean?
I can play Thomas. I just have too much money left on all my builds. And I don't want to force things in, but in basketball, like, you do want to try and use up most of your salary. Obviously, it's not the sport you want to leave.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So if you are running an optimizer or using projections and building based on that, I don't think there's any legitimate argument against leaving money on the table. In other words, if your projections and your builds get you to a certain amount of fantasy points, if you happen to leave money on the table, who cares?
Yeah, I'm not using the projections and stuff all that much. Okay. But I'm just trying to look for the optimum thing here. I really want to fully stack this Washington situation. You know what I mean? And I want to get some Culver in there, and maybe I'm reaching by feeling that I need to play Culver for some reason. Maybe that's part of my issue here. I just like him, and I think that he's in a good spot tonight. And I really like this. Like you said, it's the nut matchup of the night. It's you can't get it better than up against Washington, especially you're missing your best, highest usage guy. You don't.
The only thing I would say, like if I wanted to argue, I was going to say against going crazy in the Washington game,
yeah,
it would be because with Westbrook out, the game could go a little bit slower.
I agree. It could go a little slower. And again, just if you don't feel comfortable with it, just jump right over to that late night hammer, because that is a beauty. I'm telling you, I'm really getting into that game. I think I want to get exposure from both sides in most of my lineups. I really do, and I'm trying to make some edits to do that. You want to talk real quick? I'm going to take a quick look at the chat because I haven't looked at it in a while.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it at all. Tell me what's up.
All right, guys. So, guys, get some QQs. Sorry about this. I talk about Jones versus Baines. Never play Derek Jones, Tyus Jones versus Baines. Sorry. Tyus Jones, I like both of them. I actually have them a little bit divided up on DraftKings, not playing Baines on FanDuel, but playing a little bit of Tyus Jones over there. Draymond's supposed to get 23, 25 minutes. That sounds about right. I'm not going to play Draymond. Appreciate the love, Garrett Mendenhall. Always good to see you in there. How do you fade Joker tonight? Just because there's 7,000 options, Eric, and Gobert. I mean, look, you just answered your own question with your answer. There you go. You have Joker and Gobert, and you've got Naz Reid for cheap, and you've got Podol for cheap, and there's options. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's see, loves Wiggins. Yeah, I really like Wiggins tonight too as a sneaky play there. But I think the better play is actually Kelly Oubre. And yes, we do have Will Barton with that MPJ out. Do I like Thompson on FanDuel? No. He's fine, and if he gets there, so what? He gets there for us. They're playing him pretty much 26, 28 minutes, and he's too cheap. You're right. You could play him. He's fine. I just prefer the other options above him personally. One more QQ. Beasley and Rubio together for GPP too much Galaxy brain. Nope, that makes perfect sense to me. This is the matchup you can completely get away with doing that. I'm not saying it's going to pay off, but they're completely fine together. I'm in. LeBron is in tonight, by the way, which is all good. That doesn't really affect anything to me. So we got it going. I'm just going to take a look at my high buy-in FanDuel lineups because I think I've got Rubio in every one of them. I think I might have to at least get a little bit different somewhere.
No, I think you're all right. No,
I think he's pretty safe. I feel pretty good about him, but here's one I want to get a little different with because I decided to go with the Bulls thing, the Bulls stack in one of them, and I think I'm going to take that out. And I just have a feeling about this Lillard thing. Like, I mean, he always goes nuts in the Bay Area. It's his hometown and everything. After New Year's, maybe you could argue that maybe he was drinking at his family's place or something. Maybe that would be the reason not to play him. But I actually think this is the night that Lillard gets it going. And I wish I had a little more of him on FanDuel. So I'm going to try and make that happen as we speak.
What do you think of Cam Reddish starting?
I think Cam Reddish is actually playing really good basketball, and I'm impressed. But I don't know that I want to get too involved there personally.
Okay,
that's just me. But Covington on both sites, by the way, I think he is in play for sure. Bogdanovich is too cheap on FanDuel. Another just pointing out one. You mentioned Brandon Clark before, who I like on FanDuel as well. And I would like to get Tyus Jones paired with Rubio because I think people will make the decision between the two of them. But there's a few other. I really like that Lillard thing, man. I think I'm just going to have to do it and suck it up.
Yeah, I'm building right now a Lillard Curry.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out how to get that to work. So then I can get PJ Washington over here, and then I'm just kind of speaking out loud.
Yeah, do it.
And then, could you play Will Barton at 5,500 on DraftKings? Probably not, right?
Yeah, I think you can. I really do. I think that he'll be unowned. Well, so I like him a little bit.
Well, let's put that one in which is the shoot around? Is that the big buy-in?
Yes. No. That's the $20, $15.
That's what this is going on. All right. So we're in good. Are you playing any Trey Burke tonight or no?
No. But one of these days he's going to make us pay for it. But I'm not going to do it just with I don't like his. Unless, I mean, look, the second Luka's out, of course he's going to be the chalk, but I'll be looking to play him then. That's probably about it for me for Trey Burke. I really like Kelly Oubre. I haven't mentioned that enough. If there's a matchup that screams Kelly Oubre, this is the one for me. So I want to get some of that as well. Just taking a quick look at cheap power forwards. Oh, here's an off the board guy who no one's going to play, but I like Jay Crowder.
I was doing so much of him on FanDuel for a little while ago. I got rid of him a little bit.
Yeah, I know. You just ended up going out. And look, it was a little revenge game for him last time, but he put up a really nice 30. We would love that. We would love that tonight. But Brandon Clark is an interesting one that I'm sort of struggling with because you don't need to play big against Charlotte. I want to find an excuse to get Brandon Clark some more minutes. I want them to play Brandon Clark 30 minutes one of these days, and I'm trying to decide between Brandon Clark and Crowder right now. And I actually think, oddly enough, Crowder is the safer play who will be lower owned. If that makes any sense at all. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. Sort of struggling with this one. Sorry. I guess we don't have that. We're not running out of time desperately, so I don't need to.
No, we're okay. We're okay.
I'll take a look in chat, guys, and see if there's any more questions in a minute. It's just a tough. Let me see something real quick. Where do we have Crowder ownership-wise? On FanDuel. So you see what I'm trying to do. Like, I like to play Naz Reid, but I'm trying to do the thing where I play the two guys and the two values at the same thing.
Right.
Differentiate my build. So we got Crowder. Actually, Crowder 10% projected on FanDuel. And you've got Brandon Clark. I'm going to guess is going to be lower than that. Yeah, 7%. So I think I'm going to go with Crowder. I mean, my lineup is so against the chalk anyway, so it's fine. But
how much Neto do you have on DraftKings?
On DraftKings, like 30%.
That's it.
I'm telling you that situation. Look, you might need him, or he might be the guy who literally, puts up like 9 fantasy points and Ish Smith gets all the run. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. No, it's not a joke either.
Yeah, I really think it's possible. Boy, I'd like to. How ballsy would it be to play Bobby Portis on FanDuel at 4,700 at center? I don't know if I've got that one quite in my book.
What is he on DraftKings? He's
which one?
He's 4,500 on DraftKings.
Oh yeah, he's just an interesting. I mean, look, it's off the board. It's a great long shot tournament play. Yeah, I'm into it a little bit, and I don't understand why Jay Crowder is continually underpriced every year. It's just weird to me. Crowder, Clark. I think Clark might be the higher upside play. I think I'm going to do that. That's too bad. Yeah, then at least I can make a justification with it because I've got Devin Booker in the same lineup, so maybe they would eat into each other a little bit, I guess. But there we go. I'm done with that big buy-in one now. Let's see what else we got. Brandon Clark is actually starting. That's interesting. I guess the answer is definitely Brandon Clark now. Now Brandon Clark has become he's almost as good of a play as he's not as good as Naz Reid quite, but he's right there, man. Brandon Clark starting I think it's a big deal.
It has to be, right?
If he can get over 30 minutes, it changes the game for them. It changes the upside for him because he's projected always around 25, 26 minutes. But if he plays 32 or 34, he's going to put up 30 fantasy points. It's going to be hard for him not to put up 25 at least. And he's at the price where on FanDuel especially, you should absolutely be looking at him, I think. I'm a little afraid that I have Otto Porter too much on FanDuel, which sounds crazy.
I sympathize.
You have the same feeling?
Yeah.
You're a little worried about it too? I just feel like maybe we can do something a little bit different one of these places. Let's see. Yeah, here's one I can do something. It's the wrong one. Yeah, I got KD in one over. That's what I'm going to change. Yeah, I've got Lillard in a lot of my. I just put him into a bunch of stuff on my FanDuel. Yeah, this is a really nice lineup, but I think instead of playing KD, I want to play Kyrie, and that's going to be my answer. KD, and we're going to play power forward. We want to play Brandon Clark. Just hope he doesn't get in foul trouble. These guys in Memphis, they'll drive you nuts, man, if you ever watch him play, because they get in foul trouble every single game. It's frustrating. They're the highest foul-prone guys are all top 5 of them are all Memphis guys, basically. Yeah, I think Kyrie goes a little nuts tonight. I also think that he did try and go after Trey a little bit, and I think that's what you want. We want to get a little bit of that. I don't want to necessarily play both of them together, but I do want to get some of that. And who's our other value on FanDuel at small forward? Let's see. We've got.
Yeah, let me pull this up here actually. There's Will Barton. I like
Will Barton.
And Otto Porter, and you know who else you could play? You could play Josh Jackson again if you want.
That's actually kind of interesting. I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. Jarrett Culver too would be the other guy, and DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are the other ones probably, but it's weird that nobody's because of all these guys, nobody's really dominating the ownership thing, and that feels like I love that about big slates. You can
How
just
much Jokic are you playing?
not as much as I'd like.
Yeah,
That's the truth.
I'm playing 30. I'm playing a decent amount of him on FanDuel actually.
Yeah, he seems to fit a little better, and it's hard to just. It's just hard to look at him, but maybe that's why we should. I mean, it's hard to look at him versus Luka and Giannis and just play him over those guys at a higher price. But it's, I mean, he's justified a lot of it. Cameron Johnson, super sneaky play, by the way, on FanDuel for large field GPPs. All right, let's see. If I played Will Barton, okay. Sorry, guys. I know this is not the most fun thing to watch. I'll take a look at some QQs before we get out of here for sure. You know what? I don't think I need.
I'm going to look right now actually and see if I can address some of these. Sadiq is starting.
Okay, that actually worries me a little bit that I don't have enough of them, so I will have to do.
Yeah, well, it makes me feel a little better because I have way too much of them now on DraftKings. So we got Finney Smith or Carmelo Anthony. I don't think I'm playing a share of either of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, neither is the answer. I don't even think it's debatable.
So let's give a couple. So someone's asking like Thompson on FanDuel. Here's the thing, man. It's like the center position's always appealing on FanDuel. You know, you can always find good plays between. Me personally, I think that that they're better plays though. And I think Bryant, Gobert, Valanciunas, and certainly nothing wrong with Bam either. You know what I mean? Like we're forgetting about that game maybe a little bit, but just because it's probably whatever. But it's a Luka game, right? So
right,
you probably should think about it.
Culver, Hunter, Jack. There's a lot of options there we could use here that I can get off of the other plays here if I want to.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, whoever was on FanDuel, I have a very limited center player pool. Like I have Jokic, Bam, Gobert, and Valanciunas pretty much, and that's it.
All right, there's the answer. Josh Jackson is one of the answers there. I just realized.
Okay.
I think that's what I think you were on. Also, you know what? If Josh Jackson puts up 50 fantasy points and I don't have him in at least one of my big lineups, don't you think I'm going to just want to jump off of a cliff or something? He's my guy.
Hey, good. Thanks the Carnes for that comment in there. 12,500 for the good guys. Then only 150 yesterday. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Oh, what a beautiful.
Brutal. Only 150. Freaking suck.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, yeah, man, we really appreciate that from the Carnes. Like, hey, man, I hope if I don't win everything tonight, I hope that it goes to you. I hope if me or Sheets don't win, that it goes to you guys. I think it goes to you, man. All right, I'm taking a quick look. I know it's a little scattered here at the end. Yeah, I think that playing some of these other guys on FanDuel over Porter might be an interesting way to go. I love Porter in general. I believe in him. But I just think that these other options on the back-to-back, and you've got Culver you could use some Cam Johnson, who I actually kind of like Josh Jackson just above him. You've got DeAndre Hunter, who I like in this matchup, who looks really good to me this year with some injuries on Atlanta this time. Some guys out like Rondo and Gallinari this time. So I do think that all those guys are viable pivots off of the chalky, the ultra chalk Porter. But honestly, Porter probably should be even chalkier than he is. So
there's a lot of guys that could be chalk. I don't know.
Yeah. My guess is in the higher buy-in stuff that people are just going to play Porter though. Every time I see a 35% projection on a guy in this kind of situation, it's always like 80% owned, which is again a great reason why you might want to fade it in some things. Man, FanDuel's going so slow because I mass entered on there, so it's hard for me to.
Yeah, it's been very slow.
It's driving me nuts a little bit. But I think we're pretty much there. I'm going to answer any QQs for the last 5 minutes, if that's all right, Sheets, and we can both answer them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sadiq Bey, oh, man, okay, hold on. Well, if you see anything, let me know. I'm going to throw Sadiq Bey into a couple lineups. I think that it's probably a mistake to have none of him. Also, especially because I like him. I think he's good. Sadiq Bey.
I got too much Bane on FanDuel, but it's just gonna have to be the case, I guess.
Too much Bane, you said?
Yeah, but what do you want me to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's it could work out very well. I mean, look. You know what's funny is this guy wasn't even on anybody's radar, and I remember we were talking about how I like this guy, and I think he's just a good player, but we won't really be able to use him for fantasy. But now he's like become the fantasy chalk. Like it's really weird how this game changes so quickly.
Yeah, thanks, FanDuel. I hit edit and I get a 404 URL. So I guess they're telling me that I really should leave the Bane in there.
That's what it's trying to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not letting me take him out. I mean, literally, they're not letting me take him out. So.
Saddiq Bey. Let's get you into a couple lineups, buddy. I keep spelling Bay wrong, and it's dragging me a little bit. Sheets, do you notice any questions in chat by any chance?
Saddiq Bey starting. You guys like any G Hayward? Yes, I like Gordon Hayward on DraftKings.
Especially on DraftKings, yes, I very much do. Nas Reed over here, that makes sense. We got Washington. Okay, I'm trying to make sure my run backs and correlations are making some sense. I'm going to make another prediction. I think at least one game goes into overtime tonight. Hopefully it'll be mine.
Yeah.
But you can really, I mean, this is just open, the day thing and all this. There's so much potential value out there. Wow, it's just like all over the place, man.
And I will tell you that could be also one of those days where somebody ends up being like low owned, or how was this guy so low? Remember, like these are the guys that are like popping up now. Yeah, they're like new guys that are, with the LMA news, what else? What do I have in DraftKings that I don't like? Let's see. Yeah, it's all right. A little too much Neto, but I'll live.
I had to throw Josh Richardson into one lineup because it's the only guy who fits.
Nice.
After talking him down. All right, there we go. And we'll get Saddiq Bey. I think Saddiq Bey is going to end up being crazy chalk.
Yeah.
It's going to end up going that route, I would guess, because Bane's not starting. I think, is it possible to have too much Bradley Beal, Sheets?
It is.
I think you're right.
It is possible to have too much Bradley Beal. I think you want to know what's weird. I think that he's better with Westbrook. What do you think about that?
Yeah, hey, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, I think he'll put up big numbers no matter what.
I think so. But I definitely feel as though it's more of an upgrade for Memphis, right? Memphis, who did they play? Memphis, Minnesota. I forget.
Yeah.
It's like the park upgrade is for the other team, I suppose.
Right. It's interesting. I've got a lineup with 4. I can't do that. I've got 4 Minnesota guys and no run back here.
Yeah. Well, okay.
You can do 3 of them. I don't think you can do 4.
No.
I think it's just asking for trouble.
I would at least, and again, I would play at least Bryant.
Brandon Clark we want. On both sides now we want Brandon Clark, in my opinion. Which keeps leading me to Dylan Brooks, and I feel good about that because I've got Hayward to run it back. That feels good. All right, I think we're actually in some business here. I've got one more lineup I need to edit. I'm going to take a quick look for questions right after. I know we're running out of time, guys, but I'm sorry I have to do this. This is slightly a priority over the other, but let's see. Let's get Saddiq Bey in here. There is a bus path here for Bey, by the way. This is a terrible matchup.
Well, obviously. I mean, like he's it's always a bus path for a 3K guy.
Yeah, but I mean, we've got only 1K more for, you've got Jarrett Culver, who I feel a little better about. Just throwing it out there.
There's only one 3K guy. There's only one 3K guy that was ever a lock, in my opinion.
Who is it?
In my 3 years of 2.5 years doing NBA. And that was Gordon Hayward last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
He was on the injured reserve, and he came back in full go, and was announced starting.
Yeah.
Left him at 3K.
All right. I'm just going to hang on a couple more minutes if that's okay with you, Sheets, because I want to some of the questions are going to be appropriate to answer later, so it's fine to do. Tell your old Anthony Venturini to stop calling me right now. I'm trying to get my lineups done.
Well, last time I texted him, he got all emo with me and texted me like 5,000 words, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you told Bobby that I'm annoying," and blah blah blah.
I didn't say that.
Something like that.
He interprets things his own way sometimes.
Obviously.
All right, so here we go. All right, we'll answer. Bey, I guess he's saying Bey Gilbert or Nas Beasley. Which Gilbert? Sheets, you know who he's talking about? You know Gilbert? Which Gilbert?
Gabbert, maybe. Who's Babe?
Okay, yeah, Bane is what he meant. I don't know who Gilbert is though.
Gilbert Arenas?
Gobert.
Gobert.
Nas Beasley. I would lean Nas Beasley slightly. No problem, Luke. Sorry, I misread that.
Am I missing out on this Malik Beasley thing?
I like Beasley as a tournament play, but look, there's some variance there. They just drafted the number 1 pick, and he's going to be playing minutes too. So it's up in the air, I would say. Talk about Gordon Hayward. Yes, we like Gordon Hayward, Garrett. And that's pretty much it. I think we're actually kind of caught up.
All right.
Pollard over Kyrie. I don't know who Pollard. Oh, Lillard over Kyrie.
Lillard.
I like Lillard and Kyrie to answer your question. It's a tough call. I don't know how to answer. I do have them both together in some lineups, so that's the best way I can do it. Because I do like. I also on the other side like Steph a little bit. So, but I think.
Why don't we get some quick ownership here?
Yeah, let's take a look.
In this 200K or whatever, I'm looking at. Bay is 11%.
It's only 11%. Okay, so what? Oh, but Bay's only 11%.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Well, I actually probably would have taken a little bit more of a shot had I known that. I thought
we didn't know that.
Maybe it was too late in the day that they announced him as officially as a starter. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Bane, not Bay, but Bane is 11% also. PJ
who's owned here? What's going on here? Let's see.
20% Hayward in the big one.
Jonas Valanciunas is 3%.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones is 10%. Who the hell is the chalk? Let's see.
It's going to be later.
Nobody in my lineups. Oh, Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, 20%.
Only 14% for Tyus Jones. Now that's kind of interesting. I'm into that a little bit. I love I have PJ Washington in 2 of my big 3 lineups on DraftKings at 3% and 4%. He got in foul trouble the other night and they blew him out, so he didn't get the run. But this guy is going to put up plenty of 40-point games in his near future, and I think tonight
Mr. Adebayo is 2.7%.
Wow, what a great on DraftKings.
Yes,
that's crazy. Oh God, he's going to put up like 55, and we're just going to be like, why?
Mr. Butler is 2%.
Crazy.
Yeah,
man. This. Remember, that's when we made our money last year.
The answer to who the hell is the chalk is nobody in my lineups so far.
It's Minnesota. Okay, so Brandon Clark, people are smart. And the big buy-in on FanDuel, they got on him. He's 29%, and Josh Jackson at 20% on FanDuel. Ooh. Higher than you would have thought, huh? Tyus Jones only 11%. For Dylan Brooks, only 7%. The usage for Dylan Brooks should be through the roof if he doesn't foul out. I'm really into this late night hammer, man. I'm going to really have some fun with this, especially Oubre and Lillard. These guys I feel like are going to go nuts tonight. So yeah, I think with that I'm pretty much done. Are you having anything else, Sheets?
No, yeah, right now, Mr. I will say this in the monster right now. Just I do in fact have 3 Minnesotas and in the same lineup.
Where else can you guys get content like this? You're actually seeing our lineups. You're seeing our lineups right now. How awesome is that?
Dude, how about this? This could actually win. So this is 3 Minnesotas with Beal. And then I also have Trae Young with Durant in the same lineup.
That could be sweet.
I mean, and everything in here is a good play.
Yeah. So here's what quick question. If you play Oubre and Lillard, would you rather play Curry with it or Beal? Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question, actually. I think the answer is Beal, but for tournaments, look, we're playing tournaments. You want to go for broke here. Maybe you go with Curry.
All right, I got to run and I got to stop the stream.
All right, good luck to